Do you ever feel sad, lonely, or even bored? Does it seem to take over sometimes? We're going to talk about ways today to overcome that, even starting today. So today we're in the transformation series, and we're going to talk about transforming that sadness, loneliness, boredom by advocating for others. I am Nurse Ann. I'm coming right now from the messy front lines. I'm a certified emergency and mental health registered nurse on the front lines for many years and still going. I see so many people stuck in this sadness, loneliness, boredom, getting down on themselves. Maybe they have diagnosis, labels, limitations that they feel like they can't contribute, and it just builds into that sadness. And I see that also as I go in everyday life with you, me, us. Sometimes we can get down on ourselves, and that can become that repetitive cycle. So let's break out of that today. This, as I said, is the transformation series, and this channel is here for your inspirational wellness of mind, body, and spirit, since they work together in synergy. So let's talk about advocating for others. Even if you feel like you're stuck at home, you can still do things online, reaching out to neighbors, those around you, the places that you go. As you go every day, there's a way to advocate, giving someone eye contact, smile, listening, going further if you can, while still maintaining your own life, your own family, the things that you need to get done. So let's jump into this. And at the end of this podcast, there's always a bonus and a prize, which I'll tell you about in a second. So today we're going to talk about some of the things you can advocate for. We're going to talk about homelessness, mental health, domestic violence, human trafficking. There's even single parents, people feeling stuck in diagnosis and limitations, and just how you can be a part of making the world a better place, which I promise in turn is going to help lift you up out of that sadness, that boredom, and just getting down on yourself, and may lead you into some beautiful relationships, just a way to give back and leave a legacy. So follow this channel because it's definitely here for your inspirational wellness. It's also here for awareness and advocacy for mental health, for just struggles in general in life, and giving some hope for that. We're going to get into some of my devotionals, some scripture, just some practical tips on how to do that. And the first that we're going to jump into is a poem. When I first started doing spoken word, I was inspired to do spoken word by Hosanna Wong after I wrote my fictional drama of mental health and the frontline workers, because I saw her and others do spoken word in a way to tell a story passionately and succinctly in a short time of just the things that people go through. So one of the first poems that I wrote is called Sheep Among Wolves, and it's titled after my first story in the fictional drama Sheep Among Wolves. It's about a young lady fending for herself on the street among ravenous predatory people, ravenous wolves, trying to get her, while also battling frightening hallucinations, being alone, having that life of trauma and abuse, and how that she deals with that, and ways that we can get involved and advocate for that, which I hope you do. I promise you it will help break you out of that cycle, that hamster wheel of loneliness, feeling like you're not contributing or leaving a legacy, out of that sadness and boredom, and it'll be giving back in a good way and not getting caught up in those quick dopamine fixes that keep you stuck in things that don't leave the best legacy. So let's jump into that. Once again, follow, like, share. I am Nurse Ann, and my website is nurseann.com. That's Ann with an E. I will write it in the description, and it's full of advocacy awareness there, along with health tips for you, mental wellness, advocating for others, and so much more. So we're going to start off with Sheep Among Wolves by Nurse Ann, and it's from my mental healing poetry devotional. Sheep among wolves. Do you know anybody that's fighting not having safe housing or a safe life, battling mental wellness? Hopefully you can be an advocate for them. So sheep among wolves. Alone on the street, a sheep among wolves. A girl's got to eat, so what can she do? She begs you for money as you pass by her way. You just look at her funny as you go about your day. It must be her fault. She did something wrong. She did something wrong. But you don't know the short or the long. Her mom's on drugs. Her dad's not around. The girl grew up with no toys and no hugs. Do you know anyone like that? Hey, you, open your eyes. Check your heart. You think you know truth, but believe your own lies. Wake up. Look around. It's about time we do our part. And I'm going to read you the devotional part to help you with some ideas on how to do your part. We can do our part, work together, leave that legacy, make the world a better place, and just help in our everyday situations as we go. It doesn't have to be something giant and big. It can be just people around you, the places that you go. And it's inspired by Isaiah 1:17. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. In Proverbs 31, open your mouth for the mute and the cause of all such as are pointed to destruction. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. There's a lot of people that need those advocates, people to speak up for them. And as I said, as a nurse on the front lines of emergency and mental health, I see many people struggling with mind battles, homelessness, drug addiction, and so much more. Unfortunately, most of these lives have had their innocence stolen by trauma and abuse. It's deplorable to see someone without any safe shelter or food. Yet, at the same time, these lost sheep try to manage frightening hallucinations or mind battles, taking over their mind while attempting to fend off ravenous, predatory wolves, predatory people. In one of my trauma-informed care heroes is Mother Teresa. I'm greatly inspired by how she and her crew combed the dirty streets and picked up those who'd been tossed aside due to illness, poverty, and even those dying a lonely and painful death. Theirs was a life dedicated to helping the ostracized and stigmatized. Say that. Ostracized and stigmatized. Say that 3 times. Helping them have some moments of peace, dignity, and love amid a society that was content to throw them away. And I know we can't always give money for many reasons, but it does go a long way to offer that eye contact, listening ear, prayers, and general empathy and compassion. Unfortunately, many of these traumatized individuals have not experienced respect or kindness their whole lives. So I pray that as you go, grace and mercy can move us to show compassion in action and speak life. Even if we just start with that, that's enough for you to get started. Listening, eye contact, empathy, speaking life to people, even if you feel like you are also struggling with your own battles. When we start to pour it out, it can pour back to us and even just lift and elevate our mood. So once again, that's from my mental healing poetry devotional. Life challenges are discussed with God-ordained courage and healing to help us turn away from mindsets controlled by fear. This is to help give you inspiration to step into your true destiny of a faith walk in a purpose-driven path. It's all about having that purpose-driven life to get you out of addictions, habits, dopamine cycles, things that aren't healthy for you, to stay on your purpose of helping, reaching out for others. Is also going to help your own life. So at the end of this, we're going to do a couple more, and then we'll get to the bonus and the prize, which is a quick, short, action-packed chapter from my published fictional drama where you get to ride along with the frontline workers, rescuing those in crisis of mental, physical, and spirituals, full of action, adventure, danger, romance, faith, and inspiration. We're going to get to that. And the exciting thing is we just finished the last book in the series, and we're going to jump into the brand new story. So let me do a couple more advocacy poems and devotionals, and then we'll jump right into that. Get a drink of water. It's good for your health, even healthy for your cells. Do you want healthy cells? Of course you do. Get a drink of water. I'll wait for you. Are you doing it? I hope so. Anyway, let's jump into the next one. So, and this one is from my Ignite Life Poetry Devotional. We're going to do a couple from that about homelessness, domestic violence, and trafficking, and then we'll jump on to the bonus and the prize. Before we do, I'm going to show you, I just released the Help Each Other Heal Poetry Devotional. To help each other heal is so important. We talk a lot about a lot of mental struggles, mind battles, just things that people face and how we can help each other along the path. And that is available. There's a link on my website at nurseann.com, and it's Help Each Other Heal Poetry Devotional. Then I also recently released the Mental Strength Devotional. It helps us to deepen your roots of mental resilience, along with building your faith on solid ground. In this life-enhancing devotional, your mental wellness can blossom and thrive for your exponential growth. Do you want exponential growth? Not only when you get mental resilience and deepen your own roots of mental resilience and faith, it will help you on that journey of helping others. So once again, Mental Strength Devotional by Nurse Ann. That's me. Follow this channel. Leave your comments today. And then your Everyday Legacy Poetry Devotional to help you splash that impactful transformation. As I said, as you go. So your life legacy isn't just for the future, but also everyday encounters. So this is part of leaving that legacy and helping others. When you start to live with your purpose and your legacy, it will help you break out of sadness, boredom, addictions, and all that stuff. So your Everyday Legacy Poetry Devotional by Nurse Ann, link on the website. There's also a few more. There's Word Puzzles Devotional. There is Inspiration Battles Devotional and Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit. So check that out on the website. Let's jump into the few more advocacy situations. Then we'll go to the bonus of the prize. And then you can go out and live that life of legacy and purpose and advocacy. So the ones that I chose today, one of them is called, and actually I would just want to tell you, this is also as you go to dare to inspire and bless everyone in your path. I included serious life stories and struggles that I see on the front lines of emergency and mental health, that I see in the world at large. We talk about, as I said, abuse, single parents, homelessness, addiction struggles, people feeling unloved and inferior, people fleeing from their homeland. There's so much more. It's so full of seriousness. Start with a poem and then a devotional. So let's jump into street survivors. We also talk about people dealing with not having safe shelter or places to live. And also a lot of these people are dealing with a life of trauma and abuse and maybe addictions, a lot of mental health, mind battles, which makes it even harder to survive. And I see this, I've seen it for many decades on the front lines of emergency and mental health, very real. And I'm sure you see it as you go. So Street Survivors by Nurse Ann. And these are available, link on the website. So cold, dark, concrete, stomach full of hunger. How do I survive or warm my bare feet? Danger and fears surround me like fog. The sun batters down, advancing my years. Is all this my fault? Did I deserve the abuse? My childhood was flawed. I feel of no use. And that's how a lot of people feel. And the devotional part reminds us that trauma-informed care implores us to look past the exterior of people and to quell our judgment. What has this person endured? Do they have the tools to heal? Can we show compassion and action? You know, a lot of people weren't given a lot of the tools growing up due to trauma and abuse, and then just life came so fast and they maybe don't have the tools to advance out of that. So that's why I pray that you can be an advocate. And Isaiah 25:4 inspires us that for you have been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in their distress, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is a storm against the wall. And then the next one is about trafficking. It's called bondage. And we see this worldwide, even in your own city, men, women, and children being trafficked for so many different things. So disgusting. Bondage. Stolen from home. Lured to a lie. Now I'm trapped. Sometimes they feel might be better just to die. Forced to this labor, this disgust, feeling the shame. Hoping for rescue, was tricked into this for fame. In the devotional reminds us that human trafficking invades every country, city, and neighborhood. People can be lured by deception for a myriad of reasons. Poverty, loneliness, trying to fit in, and many more reasons are used by perpetrators to capture their victims. We must educate, empower, and support organizations to eradicate this disgusting evil. Once again, Psalm 82:3, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. And one more, and then we're going to jump on to the bonus and the prize, and then we're going to go. And this one is called Battered. It's domestic violence awareness. Made to feel worthless. Slapped for burnt dinner. Always told she's a loser. Lost her hope to ever be a winner. Battered and bruised, no strength to refute, except the dark fate, the lies, the trauma, a life of being used. Please help your sister. Show her another way. Compassion and truth, hope for light of starting a new day. And as I said, generational cycles, low self-esteem, and stressful surroundings can unfortunately perpetuate the pain of abuse. Help us lead men, women, and children to safer environments and promote trauma-informed care and learning to work on breaking the devastating cycles. No one deserves to live in fear and torment. And that was inspired by 2 Samuel. You have brought me forth from my enemies. You've also lifted me up on high above them that rose up against me. You have delivered me from the violent person. And this is from Ignite Life Poetry Devotional by Nurse Ann. So remember, this is as you go to help you break out of your own sadness, boredom, loneliness, and mental struggles of your own. Helping one another, that's going to come back to you in a multiplicity of blessings. Do you want a multiplicity of blessings? Bless yourself now with a drink of water, and then we're going to jump on to the bonus. I want you to have those healthy cells of mind, body, and spirit. So let's jump into it now. In my free time as a busy nurse on the front lines, I created the Mental Falls First 6 Stories edition so that we can highlight the struggles that people go through in mental health and emergency, your own families, the world at large. You also see the families, the church, the communities, people helping. There's people that don't want to help. And these shifts are 24/7. You have to buckle up for the compelling ride, once again filled with danger, action, suspense, romance, faith, and inspiration. With your help, it will be a television drama and or a web series. Wouldn't that be amazing? And I had it made into an audiobook. This is what it looks like on Audible and iTunes, narrated by Drama Simpson. He brought it to life with siren noises, action noises, different character voices. You're going to feel like you're right there in the action, riding along with these frontline workers. And then you're also going to see the frontline workers' relationship drama, their mind and thought battles. So get this on Audible and iTunes, and please leave a review and join this book club. And then I'm going to show you the individual stories, but just get the one book because it's so much cheaper that way. And not only that, it's one big story, but I did break them up into separate episodes as if you're on that television drama series. So the first one is The Mental Falls, Sheep Among Wolves. We just talked about the young lady fending on the street. So you're going to meet people battling homelessness, mental battles. There's danger in here and crime. And you can join the frontline workers as they battle these forces of darkness, seen and unseen, and find out if the lonely caseworker falls for the handsome officer in spite of the nagging red flags. So that is Sheep Among Wolves. And then we also finished Dr. John Doe, where we highlight dementia, Alzheimer, memory struggles, and more action and danger in the Mental Falls Dr. John Doe. And then we finish A Tent Under the Bridge. We talk about more homelessness, more danger, crime, action, suspense, romance, faith, and inspiration. Will the caseworker be able to trust that handsome officer again? Buckle up for this compelling ride. We just finished the last time Defenders of the Week, where we talk about people getting bullied and picked on. We talk about anxiety and the strangers helping each other with the similar struggles, along with that relationship drama and following the same frontline workers. We're about to jump into chapter 1 of Ready, Willing, and Able, where we talked about autism, the spectrum, people dealing with disabilities and how they can actually shine and give back to their neighbors, the community, and such in their own unique and special way. And then the season finale is Out of Control. We talk about addiction, relapse, entitled people, and find out if the big events get canceled due to the officer's mistake. Can he be forgiven, given the benefit of the doubt? You're going to find out about new beginnings and old habits in Mental Files Out of Control. So let's jump into today's, and then you can go. So let's go. So the brand new book is Ready, Willing, and Able. And chapter 1 is called All in This Together. And if you want to follow along, I do one chapter on each of these audiobook podcasts. You can also get the book. You can listen to the audiobook and just hear the whole thing. It's an exciting adventure based on what people deal with and go through, which I'm sure you see also. So chapter 1, All in This Together, from Ready, Willing, and Able. Victoria fumbled with the phone, trying to dial 911 and stop her adopted teenage daughter from hurting herself at the same time. Lee Song, please try to calm down. I'm calling for help now. No! Screamed the agitated young lady. 911, what's your emergency? Responded the emergency worker. Please send an ambulance. My daughter won't stop hitting her head on the wall. She has autism and hasn't been herself lately. I'm afraid she might knock herself unconscious, uttered the frantic mother. EMS and mobile crisis are being dispatched now. I will stay on the phone until they arrive, assured the voice of calm authority. After putting the phone on speaker, Victoria unsuccessfully tried to get her daughter to relax. Hearing the oncoming sirens brought some relief. The new paramedic and his seasoned partner, Maria, arrived at the same time that Officer Leon and the mobile crisis worker, Lita, pulled into the driveway. As they all got out together, the inexperienced paramedic blurted out his first impression. Wow, this neighborhood is so fancy. Money, money. Are we sure dispatch sent us to the right place for a call of domestic disturbance? Seriously, Mars, replied the officer, who was also taking Mars under his wing to mentor his life as after recently helping to rescue the young man from a life of crime and despair due to his not having a father or any positive male role models. That's another thing you can do. Be a positive role model. That's what the world needs. Trouble comes to all neighborhoods, added the wise caseworker who had recently accepted the marriage proposal of the handsome policeman. Even I've learned that by now, added Maria. She was enjoying teaching the ropes to Mars ever since they had been assigned to work together. Even though he had a lot to learn, he was good-natured and fun to be around, and definitely interested in learning everything he could. After the frontline workers made their way into the house, the paramedics tried to coax the young lady over to the stretcher. Thankfully, between Maria's calming voice, silly jokes from Mars, and the allurement of the medical gadgets, Lee Song turned her attention toward the newcomers. We're almost done. While the duo charmed their way into the heart of her daughter, Victoria talked with Leon and Lita. Lee Song is usually joyful and calm, high functioning in school and at home. She loves to help people if they look sad. She also loves her classmates and gets along well with them. Has she had any recent changes in her life? Questioned the caseworker. Unfortunately, too many all at once, answered the mother of the teenager. Her dad is out of the country on high-level business, Our live-in assistant had to suddenly leave to take care of a sick family member. Lisi loved her. They get along so well. She felt comfortable around her. A double whammy, expressed the officer. If only that were it, continued the exasperated mother. Last week, her favorite teacher's assistant moved out of town. The school is trying to hire another qualified assistant to work in the special needs classroom. They have to find the right match. I'm sorry your family is going through so much, offered Lita. Does your daughter have a caseworker? Yes, and he is working on helping me to find another live-in assistant. Slim pickings available right now, answered Victoria. Hearing giggles across the room, all eyes turned to witness Lee-sung laughing at the impromptu puppet Mars was making out of a medical glove. Even Maria was laughing. You're all so great at this. Thank you so much, complimented the formerly distraught mother. We'll transport her to the ER to check for injuries if you like, offered Maria. I think that would be best. Gotta be safe, replied Victoria. Can I ride in the back with her? I think that would be helpful and comforting for her, answered the lead paramedic. Mars, do you mind driving to the hospital while I stay in the back? My pleasure, he replied. After the team safely had the family in the EMS truck, Leon held his car door open for the love of his heart to give her a ride back to her mobile crisis station. Mars seems to be doing very well in his new career choice, commented Lita. He's so blessed to have you as a mentor. Thanks, my love, he replied. How has your work been? As Leon and Lita chatted on the way back, Mars and Aria made their way to the emergency room with their precious cargo. Lee-sung was enjoying the ride with all the exciting things to see and hear in the ambulance. And that's the end of chapter 1. See you in the next episode. Go ahead and be that mentor, advocate for others, leave a legacy. Have a blessed day.